Welcome back, everybody. This matchup kicking off right now. Whew, I got back just in time for Trap versus Dark. What a series we jump on into here. Speeding through all the graphics today. I do worry if this was also played from replays or cast from replays simply for the fact that GSL qualifiers were earlier today. I guess we'll see what happens. In the bottom left is Dark. In the top right, our blue Protoss player is Trap. Looks like we do have live cameras. So looks like this is live. Everyone just ready to play, and hence we're able to get into things nice and quickly. Is there a new prediction? Let me set the prediction up really quickly because our moderator is just busy arguing with Twitch chat. Oh, Kappa. Joking, please don't hurt me. Slowly. Alright, so. Is this live? Yes, it is. Afreeca or DPG. There you go. Perfect. Alright, so. Massive matchup as these two teams in the league are currently ranked 3rd and 4th place. Of course, they are 3rd and 4th place. If Dragon Phoenix win today, they will go back to 2nd. If Afreeca win, they will actually go up to 3rd. So that's where we stand. Big matchup. Afreeca 6-2 in the league. Dragon Phoenix Gaming 7-1. And what's really crazy for me, I think, is just the teams that these two have to play coming up. Afreeca get a bit of an easier match next week against GP, but then they have to play Team NV. Dragon Phoenix Gaming next week have to play Team NV, and then Kaizi Gaming, so it's a really, really rough final stretch in this World Team League series, or in this World Team League season, for a couple of these teams. I mean, we just got some high-profile matches in the next couple of weeks, basically, and I think that's going to be truly fantastic to watch and enjoy. And I mean, how could you ever complain about a little bit of Trap versus Dark? So kicking off with this in our start of our best of 7. Again, just the full lineup, just so you guys are aware what is going on and where, etc., etc. So we're going to have Trap taking on Dark. Then we're going to be having Armani against Kira, and then TY versus Zest. Very exciting. The only thing I'm a little bit not as excited about is that I feel like TY hasn't been playing as well lately. Maybe not as motivated with the military coming up. So I do wonder a little bit if this comes down to TY Zest, if it's not just going to be in DPG's favor. So I really feel like this series is very important for Trap. Try and get a 2-0 start for Afreeca, because I really think they're going to need it further down the line in this series here today. Now we already see a Stargate opening. That is going to be Stargate after Warp Gate, so a little bit of a later one, nothing as quick here. We'll see if that maybe allows us to go into Twilight Council behind it or so from Trap. As Dark 24 drones and making a fair few lings, right? I mean, this is just to deal with those Adepts. And obviously at this stage, you're kind of meant to be behind on workers a little bit as the Zerg. And typically you take over in about the 37 worker area. So just wants to make sure that these Adepts don't get much done. And really, with these lings out, you should 100% make sure they get nothing done. If you get damage done with Adepts and this many lings were made, the Zerg really is going to be in a little bit of trouble. So just going to be seeing the probe coming around. The Adepts do shade up into the natural. And just going to be playing very safe here, Trap. Not really taking any risks, not sending those Adepts out, not really confident to necessarily move out and get much done. Just now going to use them to protect the third base. So all said and done here. As Dark starts up a couple more rounds of drones, we will see an Oracle to come in after the Void Ray. Void Ray should go Overlord hunting. Overlord in the main just died. And yeah, the Overlord production from Dark is pretty spot on to minimize the time in which he's supply blocked in this game. So across the board, everything being done correctly on either side from either player so far. As we get this set up. Does Trap have a live camera, or this is a picture? Well, Trap is definitely live on camera. Dark obviously isn't. What that does mean is that this series is not from replays. Like I say, we maybe thought that some of these games might be from replays because of the GSL qualifiers, and maybe some of them still will be, but it looks as though if this one's live, I think the rest are live. I don't think there was necessarily a need to play this series from replays just because of the fact that it's the second series of the day, so it starts a bit later, etc. Again, those GSL qualifiers did take place earlier today, and they've all finished up now, so I don't think there's going to be any issues or anything. Just I think it's worth mentioning, just in case we do see a replay. I think just good for you guys to know what the reason for that might be. And we'll let you know if that's the case, if we spot the reason, or we spot that that's the case and stuff. And we'll let you guys know. But yeah, right now it looks like everything is fully live. Melee upgrade coming in, so Dark playing a bit of an old school style, going for the melee upgrade, something you really don't see every day of the week, right? I mean, melee upgrade is a little bit different, a little bit out there, something, like I say, you don't really usually expect to have coming up, just because we've seen so many of these roach styles lately, that kind of thing. So, melee upgrade coming through, Baneling Nest is about halfway done as well. We do just have charge and +1 attack coming in with a Templar Archive structure coming up in the main base too. So all of this production coming in at the moment here from Trap. Again, everything well set up for the future. Again, just pretty standard ground transition, which becomes more and more popular as of late. Oracle does sneak by for a couple of additional drones. That's 4 kills in total for the Oracle this game. A little bit trapped in here by Queens and does not have a way to recall out because obviously Queens on either side. So that's just going to be the Oracle going down. Now the couple of Voids will push. I wonder how much of this is Trap trying to fake out the idea of, oh look, I've got Void Rays, be wary, be afraid. But in reality, it's just Archons coming up, charge lots. Again, we continue into this Lane Bane purely style from Dark. He has not built any other tech structure yet. Just going to be seeing a few Lings coming back around the left. A lot of Banes coming up as well. This is going to be seeing the extra Lings, the extra Queens continue to come on through. So there's going to be a Ling Bane Queen Walk. How very interesting. That's so different to what you would usually see. The Archons are going to be absolute kings in this scenario. The question is, do they have batteries, etc., to keep them safe and secure on this third base? For the moment, the answer to that is yes. Love the couple force fields. That's going to be massive in being able to dictate where the Banelings can and cannot go for a good amount of time. And, well, let's see. Super Battery pops pretty much immediately. Banes do get on top of the first few Zealots. Great force fields on the left-hand side. Lings, probes are going to have to pull away, but they pull through the other set of Banes. So the probes pull out of danger from the Lings into the Banelings, and Trap just loses 18 workers. I feel like that was very avoidable, honestly, as another battery does finish up, and that is going to come through, healing these Archons a little bit. Of course, the first battery getting busted down with those Baneling connections. That was what was so good about it. The Banes hit the battery, the Banes hit the probes, and they got splash onto units as well. Can the Zealots and their charge clean up these Queens? There's Lings reinforcing this. There's a Roach Roaring coming up behind it as well. Queens are going to take down this pylon, and, well, that battery goes down too. The Nexus will continue to be in some trouble. Trap now going to defend the natural, but the problem with defending the natural is you already tried to defend the third base. So you already lost a good bit of eco and a good few units that were maybe avoidable because you defended a base which you weren't able to hold on to. So you're right to obviously give up the third in the end there and start holding the natural, but to have already given up some units in that position, give up the probes in that location, that does just do that little bit extra here for Dark. As away we go. Equal worker count coming out of this. Trap's army supply, not great, but the army that he does have seems better. The fact this Roach is coming up should be Dark's savior. Something a little sturdier against these units of Trap. Is Trap not rebuilding a third base or anything just yet? Really focusing on this fight and hoping that this counterattack can find some potential and get something done. In the end, he just gets pushed back. He does start a third base. He did have +2 start as well, so he is thinking about the future. But it very much so seems as though this is not going to be going his way. And what a start this would be for the Dragon Phoenix Gaming Squad. And it's just going to be seen. The Nexus dropping down the third base. These couple Archons coming through. And just getting set up. What happened this earlier game, Lambo? Nothing. It was just a Oracle Void opener into +1 attack and Archons against +1 melee Ling Bane Queen Walk. That was what he did. Nothing actually really happened early game. Neither of them really got any damage done. I think it was only like 4 kills on the Oracle. It was pretty much just Dark wanted to go for this attack, and he went for it, and he got some damage done. Now these Archons drop in, a couple of drones going down. The Overlord's taking some damage, but I mean, this is Trap really just trying to buy time. This is him grasping at straws right here. As we have a little bit of a push down the left-hand side. Don't really think that this is going to go anywhere either. That's the problem. Trap just doesn't really have the numbers to be really scary anywhere. The Queens are just going to keep this prison penned in. And okay, it keeps Dark on his side of the map, but Dark doesn't mind. He's got Bane speed coming up, Roach speed coming up. You know, you give Dark a couple more minutes here, he's going to have all of his upgrades, and he's going to come storming at you. Or he's just going to tech up himself and be very comfortable there. An additional Evo Chamber and Infestation Pit going down. I guess if he attacked with like Bane and Roach speed, the one real concern would be maybe the Storm being finished. And if Storm is done in time, maybe that commitment to an attack doesn't do well enough. Yeah, not sure just yet, as I do see a couple Archons dropping in. And some of these creep tumors being picked off. Continue to move around this right-hand side, and the Observer overhead providing that little bit of vision as well. As we do have the Stargate building from Trap in the main base. So Trap bringing these couple of Archons back around the left-hand side against Storm, +3 attack. The Stargate, the Immortal, all of this continuing to get set up at the moment here as he just continue to build right now. Hive is continuing to come on through, +2 melee, +1 carapace. I mean, it really is just Dark. Okay, Trap can tech up himself, but only because Dark is also choosing to tech up in every way he can. You know, with the upgrades and the Hive, I mean, that's the major ways you would like to tech up here as a Zerg player, so... What if Trap is live but Dark isn't? I saw a couple of people mentioning maybe they pre-recorded cams, but usually if you play games ahead of time, they just get you to play games ahead of time. They don't have the production crew around, so you just play your games and you just send in the replays, you know? So whenever someone's on cam, it's 99% going to be actually live. Maybe Dark couldn't get his camera working today, maybe it was a bit laggy with the camera. Sometimes that is a thing as well, so... You know, because you got to connect to a video call, and sometimes that causes a bit of lag. I know Doc sometimes complains about his internet. It's why he doesn't play in a lot of cross-server tournaments. So maybe something just to keep in mind in that regard. As our units continue down from Trap, a set of force fields coming down. A Storm goes in on a couple of Queens. I was going to see our Lings and Banes. While our Banes finish up, they blow up a bunch of Zealots pretty much immediately here. Just going to be seeing that fleet beacon will be done in the fairly near future as well. Zealots jumping onto a spawning pool to try and get a little bit done as well. The Queen's coming over. A couple transfusions continue to come down. Adrenal Gland's going to start. These Zealots are going to have to recall out of here, and away they go, recalling back home. They do recall out. I mean, Trap's staying alive, right? Taking a 4th base, but I mean, he's getting carries as well. I still just worry that Dark's being allowed to do everything he wants, right? It's not like Dark has been forced to play this into long game. Dark's playing this long game because that's exactly how he wants this to go at the moment. You see the Ultras Cavern is going to be finishing. The Pathogen Glands is on the way up. Melee upgrade, our Carapace upgrade, Adrenal Glands continuing through, so... Yeah, all of this just continuing in right now. It's just going to be seeing our... Roach Ravager force set up over on the left-hand side. The Bane's going to roll around the right. Just going to be seeing our Archons continue to come on through. Bane's just going to be continuing in. Just going to go rolling at that mineral line. The probes are going to pull, but again, they can't even pull in the right direction. So 11 of them go down anyway. And the rest of these Banes, they might just be good to blow up the cannons and the batteries. They actually kind of start connecting on sentries. I understand the Observer doesn't know where to look because this attack is happening too. And you can see a lot of units going down over here. Another Storm out on a Ravager. Another Storm on top of the Ravagers as Trap tries to push it back, but reinforcements include 5 Ultralisks, a whole bunch more Lings, which will become Banelings as well. And again, this is very much so a scripted ending to a game that was decided on the early push that put Dark ahead. Yeah, okay, it took a while to close it out, but only because Dark kind of wanted to play the longer game instead of being a bit more aggressive, which is probably the safer way to play it too, not complaining about that choice, just... Obviously, this probably could have been ended also with just a follow-up push, but you never know, sometimes the pros have insane micro, and Chap wasn't immediately going back up to 3 bases as well, so was it really then worth going into that setup, etc.? Yeah, maybe not, right? Maybe not. Lings is going to run up to the upper left-hand side, just going to go through, and a few units on that left side. A Ravager going to get picked off already. Bunch of probes going down as our Lings run through, and they're just going to go up and fight against the cannon and force a recall. Trap really, again, doing anything possible to survive. The thing is, for Dark, these are such expendable units. On 77 workers, it's Lings, they're cheap, they're easily lost. You know, you don't really worry too much when these are going down, so... It's all damage being done to Trap, which is very substantial and very low cost. Now, Trap maybe has 1 attack left in him this final push. He actually has decent army supply for going into it. The first Ultra melts to a Mortal Archon fire. The problem is going to be reinforcements coming up as this fight happens, and again, that's just something I'm not sure if Trap is necessarily really prepared to play against. That pylon goes down, everything else coming up. These couple of Archons getting shot down as well. Storm's coming through on top of those Ultras. Units are going to back it up a whole bunch here. Archons, Immortals, a couple of carriers continue to come on through here as well, and just going to be seeing our Ultras still pushing back up through the center a little bit. Trap just doesn't have enough. He has no interceptors left in his carriers. He doesn't have the power. The Blinding Cloud comes down. Not even sure how successful that really is or how much it does, but Queens are transfusing up their Ultras. They are not going to let them go down. Obviously, the carriers, like I said, out of interceptors. One interceptor being built at a time ain't going to do it. Another warp in. Trap really stayed in this as long as possible, but it just wasn't good enough. And that is going to be Dog taking the first map here for Dragon Phoenix Game. Bottom right-hand side, our red Zerg player is Dog, as in the upper left, our blue Protoss is Trap. As we get going into game number 2 of this best of 2. It is best of 7 overall, but this will be the second and only map that Dark and Trap will play against each other in this series. As after this, we go into Armani versus Cure, and then Zest taking on TY. Like I said, very fun set of games for this top-level matchup in the World Team League. Up going in, nibbling up on those minerals, and just going to be seeing a hatchery building off of location because that probe blocked it, so pretty much what we expect at the moment here. MVP in his prime had skills of a current Diamond player. You know, that's going to be a very controversial statement, but I don't actually think it's too wrong. Current Diamond might be brutal, but, like, the game changed so much, and a lot of what you have to do nowadays to be, like, low Master League is what you could have probably gone into GM with years and years ago, because so many aspects of the game just became expected at certain levels, and those were things that we were impressed by, you know, back then. You know, if you split your Marines like a Masters 3 player in 2011, people would have been like, oh my god, wow. Now we see people splitting Marines like, well, yeah, you kind of meant to do that because otherwise the Zerg's just going to win this fight, duh. You know? Now you have to do like a really spectacular split for anyone to be like, oh yeah, oh wow, kind of thing, you know? So it was a very interesting, it's a very interesting discussion point. It's one of those ones that's very opinionated. You know, it's one of those ones that doesn't really come out anywhere as well, I don't think, unless... Because it very much so is just based on your own opinion of, like, you know, no one really has the exact metrics or the statistics to say, like, oh yeah, this is how good that guy then would be now. So it's kind of just, it's one of those things which isn't even worth comparing, you know? Anyway, fun discussion point. And we go with this, Adept moving through, going in after a Zergling. Stargate is about to finish up here from Trap, and once again a Stargate opener. Here on Romanticide, Trap's map pick for map 2 because he loses game number 1, so we'll see if he picks Romanticide because he likes this being an easy-to-take set of bases, and if he wants to just use Void Rays and Sky Toss to set up here, we'll figure that out fairly soon. As a couple of our Adepts are making their way out on down to that bottom right-hand side. So just continue to shade on through. Ling is looking to try and get a bit of a jump onto those Adepts, not really being all too successful. Cordray picks off the Overlord here and able to take that down as the Oracle continues along. Gateway going to be done fairly soon, and a couple of creep teamers are just going to go pushing out the front as well. There's our Nexus on the third base. Border comes looping through this top side. It's going to be seen on Stargate building number 2 in the main. So we do get our answers to what Trap wants to do here. Wants to go multiple Stargates with this Nexus to get going. 4-minute Nexus, isn't it pretty early? Yeah, I mean, yes, it's early, but I don't think it's unordinary when you play like a Stargate-focused style, because A, you've got this Oracle to help you defend, then you're going to have the Void Rays to defend, so you're generally going to have anything you need against a ground attack, and a ground attack on Romanticide especially is going to take a long time to arrive, and if it's a Queen Walk, it's going to take a very long time to arrive, so then if it's not a Queen Walk, what do you actually have to kill the Void Rays and actually do anything against that third? So it is early, yes, but we don't really shout about it because it's very standard nowadays to go for such an early third base. It's something we see a fair amount of the time, you know? So yeah, it's fast, but it's, like I say, it's not really crazy or anything. It's almost an expectation nowadays. It's sort of like, I think a really good example of this is PvT, where, you know, we used to talk about like a 4-minute third base as being like, holy wowzers, what is this Protoss player up to? Like, that's amazing. And nowadays, if they go for the 4-minute third, you're like, yeah, that's the faster third base you can go for. But it's not like, oh my goodness, he's building the 4-minute third base, what is he doing? Because we've just sort of come to accept that over time, right? Like, it's just, you can do that as a Protoss. If you play that style, we know you can defend that. Okay, some Terran builds are very good against it, yes, but at the same time, you know, map dependent, etc., it can just be very powerful too. So, yeah, it's definitely one of those things that just became a meta thing, I suppose, you know? Protoss just kind of became so used to needing to get those fast expansions in every matchup, right? In PvT, you need it because of the mules. In PvZ, you need it because the Zerg can just grow their economy so quickly, so especially if you're not going to be very aggressive or harassing with very much, you need that third base. Otherwise, the Zerg is just going to have so many units so quickly. And it does create this cool circle of, you know, if you go for a super fast third on other maps, well, then it opens up some of the aggressive options for Zerg, which they can do to stop you from maybe taking that fast third every time. And it's what keeps the matchup interesting. It's what stops you doing it every time, etc. So it really creates this kind of circle of builds that work against each other and keeps the matchup fairly fresh. It's not like you just drop down a 4-minute third base every time as well, right? So, yeah, it's a lot of cool stuff to look at. Look at this from Dog. I feel like that's something we should get kind of, you know, hyped about. A 7-minute pathogen glands. So going into infestors early in this game. I love that. That's a very different way of playing, and that is something a little bit crazy. That is something a little bit out from the ordinary and not really quite the expectation. What the hell are we doing with infestors this early on, Doc? All of them on the way up. Hive building. I mean, obviously the Fungal's good against Void Rays at locking them down, and maybe you want to try and just lock down Voids and Corrosive Vile them down? I'm very interested as to how this actually plays out, because it is not your normal go-to. As Trap, we'll see how he works around it. We'll have Historical, that's really important. I think he needs to find out about these infestors. The last thing you want to have happen is these infestors just be like, pop, Fungal, just because you're not expecting infestors, and then, you know, you start losing all your Void Rays because of it. You really want to try and avoid that if at all possible. So Infestor's coming on through, and he's making a hell of a lot of them. And to be fair, Trap is going Fleet Beacon. I'd imagine there's going to be Neural Parasite on the way soon as well. Maybe we go into Vipers and Neural Parasite for the Infestors, and we use that combination as a way to try and fight against this. That would be my best guess at how this continues onward. Especially because, you know, yes, Trap has built a ground army, but Dog is, with Infestors especially, I think, really going to be setting up for the later game here. You know, this is not something which is just going to end early on necessarily, as again, melee upgrades coming through, the adrenal glands building up. Ultra's Cap continue through as we do have our mothership continuing to build as well off of that main nexus, just getting that rolling. All of this coming through as Zealots and Void Rays going to make their way down this right-hand side. They're going to go jump on that hatchery then as a few roaches coming across and chasing a few of those Zealots away. I think Trap sees this and just realizes, you know, this is not going to be the sort of style that you push on into anytime soon. This is kind of the army you need probably to get your carriers up to deal with. Very intrigued by the Mothership then, because obviously Mothership is a pretty big investment. It's not something that's necessarily a go-to all the time for Protoss players. Especially interested to see that that's the initial choice with the Fleet Beacon rather than starting carrier production. I mean, cloaking can be nice. It's obviously going to hide where those High Templar are a little bit. You know, it's hard to see what you're fighting into exactly as the Zerg, but then when you've got Infestors, they just need a fungal growth, the general area of the Mothership, then everything's going to be revealed anyway. So, yeah, those Disruptors are going to be hidden away, and maybe that's part of it too. Me and Roddy discussed this a little bit in PvP the other day when Geralt was playing Showtime long game that came up on Romanticide, and similar ideas. Geralt kept building Motherships, and our best guess as to why was just because keeping those Disruptors hidden just makes them that much more powerful, because it's very difficult for the Zerg to then know where the heck the attack is going to come from, where that shot's coming from, and it just makes it a little bit more successful. So I imagine if Trap just says, yeah, that's going to be a longer game, let's just set up for it, that might be the intention there. Double Spire from Dark. He has one already morphed into a Greater Spire, the other built in a Spire itself just now, so he can start up upgrades once those are done. I mean, this is very much so just Dark accepting this is, well, not really Dark accepting. I think Dark is saying, let's play late game. And then Trap probably just has to accept that, because again, it's not really an easy setup to attack on into in the first place, to be all honest with you. Trap supply was just random symbols. Yeah, if you exclamation mark 163 in the chat, it explains it basically. The there's a bit of a censoring issue with 163. Because 163.com or whatever is the Blizzard domain or the NetEase domain in China. So it's actually censored in-game to make sure people can't pretend to be like Blizzard employees or NetEase employees. And so it's just a bug that carries over to the UI as well. So it's just... a lot of people are like... Someone explained it to me that a lot of people on YouTube are like, man, why is 69 censored? As though of all things 69 would be censored. But no, it's actually got a little bit of a... It's actually got a little bit of a more logical explanation than anything else, you know? I imagine it was just implemented because, you know, maybe there was a lot of people trying to pretend to be employees or something, and so, like I say, it's just a bug that carries over to the UI. Trap gonna come pushing on forward, so you're gonna take down the first few spores. I gotta say, what a time to attack. First Brood's on the way, but not ready yet, so it gives you a little bit of time where you can definitely get some damage done. The Viper's getting pushed back. Here come the Brutal. Were these Vipers or were they just Queens? Like, maybe I'm seeing things. I can't see them anymore. Brutal has finished up, but 25 drones going down. I mean, Trap has a very successful attack here. Especially considering off the back of this, Trap has money to spend, and Dark really doesn't. So Dark doesn't have money to spend and has to rebuild 19 drones. That's 1,000 minerals of drones that has to be sent back through. I mean, that's crazy expensive. That's a lot of money you have to spend right there. That is, that's pretty freaking tough, to be honest with you. As we pull back around that upper left-hand side. Well, a few Banes are going to go waddling on forward. The Zerglings are going to come along with them and make their way up this ramp. In we go. Bane's going to crash on through. Cannons are going to get depowered. So, depowered thanks to those Baneling shots. 8 probes going down as well. Really pretty decent damage just being done across the board. As a Dark Templar, Dark Shrine, sorry, comes up, so Trap continue to progress with his own harassing options. Really feels like Afreeca needs this map win. If Trap doesn't pick up this map win against Dark, I really don't see this series continuing to go well for them, so need to see, really need to see Trap follow through with this for victory if we want this to be a competitive series, I think. And for that reason alone, I'm kind of cheering on Team Trap here. I want this to be exciting. I want this to go the distance. I want that TY Zest series to matter, you know? There's a few Zealots show up, and they do a little bit of damage, but I'm going to be chased down by Lings. Trap's on his way over here, maybe. I don't know if he wants to actually try and protect the Zealots, or if he thought he could catch some units, or if he just wanted to attack this direction in general. Definitely a couple of possibilities as Army pulls back a little bit. +2 air weapons is on the way. The observer speed coming up as well. So Trap really investing into anything and everything. It's only 14 minutes, but because of the way that they've played, it really accelerates the progress into this late game, right? What I'd say is most interesting to me is maybe just the fact we're still not seeing carriers. It's just Archon, Immortal Disruptor, a few Voids, and then that Mothership. So not seeing carriers brought in, and usually carriers really are the go-to for late game PvZ, but Trap clearly doesn't want to add those into the composition. He's not really rebuilding Void Rays either. It's mostly a ground army that he's working with here, so very interesting. Massive Fungals to start off with. Storms on the Broodlords as the War Prism brings the High Templar forward to get those storms off. He's only getting one storm off when the High Templars are full of energy, though. This time, he does pick up the High Templar and save it, but man, he just attacked up a choke point into complete and utter disaster, really. And that went very, very well for Dark, who cleans up a whole bunch. The Broodlords make a good defense, very cheap defense, too. At the same time, he's the one that kills 21 probes out over that left-hand side. This was not the attack Trap was looking for. This was not the way to make this work. And that is a massive hold from Dark. Really, really, really well done from him to improve this position. Zealots around the bottom side going to take away that hatchery. I'm just going to see the rest of these Zealots continue to charge on through. Zergling's being picked away at the Spine Crawlers are still firing. And continue on through this. Going to move up this right-hand side. Queen's in some trouble. Broodlord's still firing up a storm as well. Stalker's still blinking through and getting rid of a whole bunch of extra bits and pieces. Another Disruptor shot landing on a few of those Queens. Now the rest of those Lings going to chase around that bottom left-hand side as well. Everything else here from Trap continues to back away. A couple of Vipers are going to try and get consuming as well, doing as much as possible as everything pulls up to the 12 o'clock. 19 Banelings in production. I mean, Trap's able to rebuild. He's stabilizing, but he doesn't have the bank advantage that he had previously. You know, before Trap really felt like he was in control with the difference in the banks and the money that he had to spare. Now it feels like nothing like that. Definitely feels like this game is very much so in Dark's hands, and up to Dark to kind of find a way to finish off, etc. He's going to come running down the bottom sides, just making a little bit of progress already. Stalker's up right, going to take down a hatchery and clearing that out, and just going to be seeing more attacks from Dark. At this stage of the game, Dark is in a position where you can probably just start trading, kind of similar to the last game where, you remember where he was like trading off Lings and we're like, well, it doesn't really matter for Dark because it doesn't cost a lot versus what he's getting done. It's kind of the same thing now. Trap's losing base, he's losing economy, and Dark can throw units at Trap a little bit more than usual because his economy is just that much better, and Trap cannot actually afford to have this economy go, you know, down the drain for him. He can't afford to be losing that, so it's going to become very expensive very quickly as you see these Voids making their way out down the bottom side. Pulling back up around the left a little bit as well. I mean, Dark obviously just going to go one way then the other, and it's so difficult for Trap to move everything over to realistically defend. And, you know, Lings, a couple Banes, and an Ultra. Again, it's cheap. It isn't a real expense at this stage of the game for Dark, who shows up, denies Trap once again a base, and all of a sudden Trap's back down to 4 bases. Can't mine properly, can't get that bank set up and running once again like he once had. And Trap just seems to be spiraling into a worse and worse position here so far. That Oracle is just going to be on the way. So Oracle coming through about halfway done. Units of Dark are going to go rolling on that left-hand side. I mean, cannons are firing up, and these Void Rays coming in. Look on the Banelings crashing through, and a good chunk of probes are going to fall as well. 14 workers going down. Again, these Void Rays are going to continue fighting. A lot of these Zerglings being taken down as well. Can he get the hatchery? Well, the Nexus, I should say. Yes, he can. Nexus will fall, and that probably is going to start doing it. Or start being the end of the end for Trap, because it's basically this army or die trying. He does not have money behind this. Dark has a ridiculous bank. I don't even know if you can take a fight here that really does that much. Look at what the Broodlords are doing. Again, Trap was really reluctant to ever build an air army, and If you're reluctant to build an air army, believe it or not, then it's going to be very difficult to clear out those Brood Lords. Which is really, really tough. I mean, that's just brutal, but... I mean, such is life. That's the way that this game works, and... yeah, unfortunately, that seems to be the way that this is going, is... you continue to fight on through. I mean, more fungals going down. Trap just can't seem to find a good position anywhere at the moment. And, carriers did not arrive, as potentially called Tim on the 4-month resub. No, they did not. I gotta say, I'm surprised. Like, initially I could get it. I kind of like the style, but I feel like once the Brood started coming into play, I didn't really understand what Trap's plan ever was going to be at that stage, you know? At that point, I just didn't really understand where he was ever going to take this, how this was ever going to work out for him, or... you know what I mean? Just felt as though... yeah, it was just a bit rough, really, more than anything else. As we come on through, Dark's just going to take down another base. Again, make sure that this army is absolutely just all in as it can be. And has nothing to fall back to. Fungals are going to buy you time. You can't push up these ramps as Trap. You've got to play a longer game than this. But you can't play a longer game than this because of everything Dark has done across the map. And honestly, this was a beautifully played game of StarCraft 2 by our Zerg player. He did a fantastic job of just controlling this from the early stages. Knew what he wanted to do, knew his style, made it work wonderfully. Can Gemini show my stream on his stream? Yeah, if he wants to. I mean, I don't mind. It's all good on my side. Yeah, Mario's 13-1. He just has a crazy score in this league. Your game knowledge has to be astronomical. Depends who you ask. You know, if you ask the general Twitch chat, they seem to think I know nothing, but... well, the YouTube commenters. They seem to think my game knowledge is pretty bad. I think I have pretty good game knowledge. I don't think I'll ever have as good game knowledge as pros, obviously. Because I don't watch the game for the details like the pros do, you know? I think that's a big difference on my point of view, from a pro's point of view. Like, Hearthstone says a lot of cool little things, and, you know, a lot of the little things that Hearthstone talks about, and little, like, you know, changes and differences, I think they're really cool to know about and see, but to me as a viewer, you know, I cast as though I'm, you know, I want to watch the game of StarCraft, and to me as a viewer, I'm not as excited about those little differences versus the overall story, and so I focus a lot more on that. And that means, yes, I have worse game knowledge, and I think that's expected. I think that is really cool to have the pro player knowledge as well of those little things, but it's just two different styles of casting, right? So I think I have very good understanding of builds. I think I have very good understanding of, you know, meta games, histories, styles, how things are meant to go, just general understanding, but I do think, like, a lot of my specifics are pretty bad. I think that translates. You can see it if I play. Like, if I play, I actually have no idea where to even begin with the build order. Like, I know the builds, but I don't. I couldn't tell you when I'm. And like, I roughly know the builds, but I don't know what second I'm meant to have this at, right? And so, like I say, like, I'm just not really. When I cast, that's not really the sort of thing I look at, because I'm telling the story and stuff, and you know, that kind of thing. So that's why I think it's really cool to have a mix of a pro player with a, you know, caster like me, or I mean, obviously Roddy knows those kind of things as well. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that sort of mix works really well, because you can get a good balance of the general overall story as well as the smaller details. So yeah, it's one of those things as well. Like, the amount of stuff I would have to play, or the amount of time I would have to put in to improve on those little things, I think is so heavy versus the reward it gives. You know, I could not stream as much and study a lot more StarCraft 2 and tell you guys a lot more cool little things, but you know, at some point I've got to stream a certain amount of hours a day and stuff as well, and, you know, if I'm always looking out for these little things, I don't interact with chat as much, and, you know, that's the whole thing of, do you want that or not? Well, as a streamer, I think you just need that, so, you know. And does that affect me when I cast big tournaments, when I don't interact with chat? Well, yeah, sure it does, but there's only, you know, there's not really much I can do about that. That's just the way of the world, you know? At the end of the day, I stream more than I cast big tournaments, so, yeah. You can't be the best at everything, you know? Why is Cyril's team not in the tournament? Because they don't have enough players. As we get set up with a pretty regular opening here in the TVZ, it is going to be double gas, so no 3CC. Always interesting to see Cure on Jagannatha. It's one of these things where it's like, Jagannatha is meant to be a Zerg map pick, which is why I'm sure Armani is here. And then Q is like, well, actually, I don't veto Jagannatha in TVZ. And he's one of the few players that doesn't veto it. Him, sometimes Bjorn. He kind of likes playing on this map, so kind of an interesting little aspect to think of early, and he will play, like I say, aggressively early on, double gas instead of any kind of a 3cc opener. Seems to be the way that we get set up here for the moment, so that's how we get things moving along. We're gonna see Reaper hopping around that right side, couple of Hellions coming on through. That's all of that getting set up and rolling is just gonna be seen our drone. Taking a little bit more damage here. Cloak on the way up. That Banshee still coming through. The couple of Hellions coming in as well. And the Hellions are actually going to get by in a few of these Zerglings. Uh-oh, in a little bit of trouble. So a few Zerglings taking some damage, but okay, not actually so bad. The Hellions actually getting turned around and shut down. Secure will be forced back out of here. There's going to be those Banshees that Cloak set up, so not really too surprised when you open in on these two bases. And I think it's also one of these things that Jagannatha is a bit of a faster rush distance than you expect because of those acceleration zones. And so it means that roach attacks can hit early, so it's nice to have these Banshees up. And, you know, I think as well it's one of those things where I think on this map you do need to take the initiative as the Terran too. And the Banshees also allow you to do that. You can be in, you can harass, you can be the one killing a couple drones, getting damage here and there, and just slowing the Zerg down without anything else really happening across the board. All of drones do get picked off over on that left-hand side, so the Banshee's doing very well. Like I say, not amazing, I guess, but considering it was already taking a bit of a... It took a bit of a beating already. Definitely not too bad as these few Hellions make their way around over to the left. Lara's about to finish up here. The Evolution Chamber is still coming through. We're actually going to lose one, nearly two Hellions right from the start. Those 1-1 upgrades just continue to build on our engineering base. So what's kind of crazy is you go Cloak Banshees and you're still going to have faster upgrades than the Zerg. It's kind of just the way that the Zergs play nowadays. There's faster lair rather than Evo Chambers. So it really means that you're just going to have those upgrades in your favor as the Terra no matter what. A lot of the faster upgrade styles really did die off for Zerg players. They really stopped going for those, despite it having been a thing in the past. And yeah, it's always crazy. Like when you go 3cc, yeah, you kind of meant to have engineering bays and upgrades faster than the Zerg does. But you know, when you go kind of Cloak Banshees, a lot of the time in the past you'd be like, well, you're sacrificing your upgrades. Well, you kind of are. You're not going to be as big of a lead as you would be otherwise with upgrades, but you're still ahead, right? So the timing windows are still on your side. You'll never be the one worrying, oh no, I can't take this fight. I'm down on upgrades a few seconds. So it does still give you a little bit more control over the game in that regard. Marines in the center, picking off a Zergling, doing pretty decently there. What counterattack comes through, and to be fair, only really the Banshees here, which, while it's nice to have something in position, it's not like the Banshees are the kings of dealing with Zerglings. No, I was going to say again, the natural, but there's units there. Drop across the map, though, is going to cancel the 4th base for us. You know, as good as killing 8 workers is, losing the 4th base is pretty detrimental to a Zerg who typically wants to go up to a lot of drones in this matchup. Typically, you want that production off that hatchery as well when you're playing Lingbane. You know, lava issues are a big thing in Lingbane kind of styles against Terrans. So, losing the hatch, delayed 4th base, that's the kind of thing that really hurts a lot. A tank low ground doing a wonderful job, and yeah, well, we're actually going to start getting some more progress made over here. Just going to pull away, let the tanks do some work. Creep Tumors continuing to come around. The other Bane's going to go crashing in. Again, doing a decent job of this. Just going to see our Banshees still making their way now down to the bottom right-hand side. So, coming on through. This Banshee's going to come around the back and maybe zap down a drone or two here. Going to get one, going to get two. Going to find a third one, and just about going to get the Banshees out alive, actually, in the end of that. Now we see the units of Q getting back home. Not bad, though. A couple of extra kills as Armani going to try and get this Bane run by into this mineral line. Let's see what he can do straight in, and that is no reaction from Q. Missile turret dies as well. Weakens up this position for the incoming Mutalisks. 14 SCVs down. And Armani making some plays for the Afreeca Freecs, and boy do they need them, of course. If Armani gets 2-0 here, this series is just over. It's just one for Dragon Phoenix Gaming. This series does lie on the shoulders of Armani. He needs to pick up at least a map win, keep this series alive. So let's go Armani, I like it. You know, getting good damage done, decent defense. Wasn't a fan of the 4th base being cancelled, but I feel like he's done enough elsewhere to make up for that. So, hell freaking yeah, Armani. A couple of additional Banes will morph in again. Just going to see these few mutas moving up through the center as well. Our 2-2 upgrades on the way up from Cure is definitely one of the leads he'll have and something he might try and build a timing around. Massive counterattack at a perfect time as well, right? The units on the map, not over here, not in position. Boom, 8 more SCVs, 3rd base lifted. And you know what? Cost Armani basically nothing. He can get back in time to use these units as part of this fight. Tanks are siege though, and the Banes are rolling in on their own. He's actually just going to evacuate the bottom right base, which maybe not a bad call. You've got the left base up and running. Just give yourself even more time to get even more units in play. Make this an even better and easier defense for yourself. No reason to rush on in if you can play the slow game, right? That's how this matchup works a lot of the time, and looks to be the exact direction this is going to start heading in as well. So, awesome stuff as these Lings and Mid is going to come back in. That's a dead 3rd base. He's just going to lose the 3rd base, so now Q's basically all in on this bottom right side. It's even better that Armani evacuated this base and is just going to play around the left side, because absolutely no reason for him to be trying to take a fight anywhere else. Again, this really is just build as much as you can and go. Now, he is going to be down the upgrades. 2-2 has finished from Cure. So if you can wait the extra 20, 30 seconds for your own 2-2 to finish, then do it. But obviously don't lose too much. Don't give the Terran too much position. And especially, I think, don't let him reinforce too much. Here we go. Looks as though he is just going to crash on in. So we'll fight without the upgrades, but come in from 2 angles. No reinforcements here because they're still on their way across the map. I think that makes up for the upgrade deficit. I mean, you can see it's a decent fight, really, for Cure. It would have been much worse if these Marines were here, even if the upgrades were there for the Zerga thing. Now, Armani just needs to get another round of units out. Is he actually going to be able to? Maybe this is a bit more troubling than I thought. Oh no, his Overlords! The Overlord farm and the Banelings morphing get pushed back as well. The 2-base Cure attack at the moment is, actually causing a lot of issues. Cure might just make this happen. Don't understand the additional meters being made. Feels like meters are the last thing you need to add on right now. Make Lings, make Banes, make units that can clear this position up, clear up these units, and give you a life in this game still. There you go, rolling on through. A couple Banes connecting. Is it enough? You need to clean these units up. You get rid of the tanks, which is massive. The last few Marines dropping down as well. Cure still has an army supply advantage, but a lot of it is still coming across the map in the form of reinforcements. Lings and Mutas are going to try and jump on this, trying to overwhelm. Drones are pulling in too. Anything possible from Armani to try and survive, and it just isn't enough. Cure is able to make it happen. Oh, and Afreeca Freecs are in so much trouble right now. What a game from Cure. Down to the 2 bases, and he just has enough army to make it work out. What a ridiculous ending. A ridiculous ending to this series. My good... well, not the series, sorry, but to this game. Wow, wow, and wow again. Why is Q a Super Saiyan? Because he's now 14-0 in this event, so he's just on a massive win streak. You get to be a Super Saiyan if you go on a cool win streak and stuff, you know? I still don't know what the actual rules are, but basically just assume that, that they're playing really well in the league and they have a really good win streak or just scoreline or statistics in general. 14-0 is a bit of a statement. Kira in the bottom right side, obviously taking on Armani in the upper left. Armani's map pick chooses Lightshade. We'll see what Lightshade brings us here in the next little bit. CBG's gonna buy webcams with the money earned. Yeah, no, it's I don't know what it is today. The Dragon Phoenix Gaming guys, they do not have their webcam. I know they all have webcams. They've played with webcams in the past. Maybe there's maybe they're like at a team house. Maybe that maybe there's something going on around GSL qualifiers that they can't have webcam. I really don't know. Because the GSL qualifiers played online nowadays and stuff too, so yeah, my best guess would be like maybe they all went somewhere like a team house to practice and play GSL qualifiers or something, and then like that's my best guess. That or they just don't want to, do anything else. All right. Kyo's just playing naked is the secret to his power. That's why he doesn't perform in offline events. He can't take his clothes off. We figured it out. Good job, chat. Good job, chat. We did it. We figured out the secret, right. Next time I ladder, I'm going to take all my clothes off. See, this is why I don't ladder on stream. I also take my clothes off to play at my best possible Starcraft 2. Clothes are just so restraining, you know? They keep me so contained. How can I unleash my epic APM when in the confines of a t-shirt? It's just not possible. It's just not realistic. Ay. It becomes up and Ling's taking some damage. Pretty standard TVZ start, of course, the Ling Reaper dance. Close off with keyboard on the lap is the only way to play. Now, you guys remember Sheth? He actually played with his keyboard on his lap. That was crazy to me all the time. He's just like, yeah, it's more comfortable. Credit to him. Close definitely constrict your fingers. Yeah, no, it's not about my fingers. It's like, I have to take my mouse everywhere, you know? I'm zooming and zapping around the map because I play so quickly, so my arms are moving. You gotta have a lower DPI to be accurate, but then it means you gotta swing around more to be able to get in all the places I need to be because I play so quickly. It's not the fingers, it's the arms, you know? I mean, I need my legs free so that when I stand up and jump up to shout shit talk my opponents, I can do it with immediate effect, you know? They constrict my just straight up freaking aura. You know? How can you wear clothes when you've got a freaking yellow Super Saiyan aura around you? They'll just burn off, you know? That's why you've never seen them be Super Saiyan with the actual cameras, only in the pictures, because they can Photoshop those. They can't Photoshop the clothes back on the the guys on the camera. So they gotta just keep their clothes on and not go Super Saiyan on camera. That's why. We figured it out, okay. Good job, team. As a team, I feel like we've really figured out all of the ins and outs of why and why not this happens. Good job. Great effort. Aliens are gonna come around the left-hand side with this Reaper. Just keeping the pressure up. It is going to be Banshees again here from Cure. Again, just Banshees into that third CC. So staying pretty... I mean, Armani is fairly well known as an aggressive player. Oftentimes, I would say a Roach kind of focused player for sure. But I don't think he's so Roach focused or so aggressive that I'm going to play Banshee every game against him. But I don't blame Cure if he feels like he's the stronger player and he can play better given time or given a longer game. Why not play the style that almost guarantees you to get to a longer game? I really felt like Armani played a great game last game as well, though. I really felt like he did everything right, apart from... I kind of agreed with him even when he jumped on that army bottom right-hand side, but obviously it was not the right decision. Wait a bit longer, wait for upgrades. Probably would have gone a bit better. That's going to be seeing the Spire dropping down the back of this main base. A couple of drones going down as the Banshees show back up. Banshees definitely feel like they're finding a bit more damage than they did last time around. Hellions going to come back on through. One more upgrades on the way up. Stimpack is going to be finishing up shortly. The Spire on the way. I mean, honestly, very similar to the last game in terms of build orders and the way in which plays against Hub. I think that Spire might be a little faster than it was last time around, as a couple of drones are going down. don't know why. Every time they put the units lost tab up, they hold the keys down. It makes the clicking sound of just spamming the keys. Maybe the observer's trying to get their observer APM up. Push through the center here from Kira. As he comes through, just clean up a little bit of the creep spread here initially. A few queens just on that top side. Marines and the mines and the medevacs around down the bottom. The Baneling gets sniped down nice and quickly. The V Marines continue along. Wouldn't mind connecting. Missile turrets is going to fire up and hit those mutas a little bit as Marines and Widow Mines continuing back around the right. Those mutas do escape back up that right side, so just getting out of there right now. A few Marines coming over, picking up another Baneling kill, so Banes continue to drop Widow Mine shots. It's pretty darn good there as well. Now these Marines are going to drop off further down toward the bottom there, so doing a decent job of that as we do see everything else from Kira still moving back around this left-hand side. Marines and Hellbats coming in. Lings and Banes going to get chased away. A few Hellbats continue to come through. Queen gets picked off as well as our Marines and the Hellbats joining up together. Just going to be seeing a few more of these units just continue to dive on in as Armani makes the cleanup, gets this push back, gets this cleaned out. Now going to chase down these medevacs. 1 medevac, 2, 3, and 4. The other Marines continue through as well as these Lings and these mutas continue to come on through. It's going to be seeing the drilling claws on the way now. Scan that started up. The 2-2 upgrades on the way as well. I mean, that's going to be the next real opening here for Kira, right? When he's got 2-2 against 1-1, he's going to have that for what feels like an eternity. No 2-2 on the way yet from Armani. It's going to be a major issue. You really cannot downplay the difference of that a 2-2 set of upgrades makes, so that'd be pretty crazy as our mutas continue around that bottom side. Marines, Mines, and Marauder coming in. Muta's going to go jump on top of the missile turret. A bunch of these SCVs continue to go down. Sex workers being killed off is just going to see the mutas coming through for a little bit of additional damage as well. So 6 workers will go down. They will fall. Mutas now going to make their way out down through this bottom side, so they're just going to keep on moving around a little bit too. Widow Mine self up to the side from Kira, gets some good damage done. Picks off a few of those mutas, and now they're hurting as well. How are you really meant to do anything with these at the moment? They do manage to turn around riskily to pick off a couple of those Widow Mines that are trailing along, so they do okay. As Kira picks off another muta or so. We continue on through this with our army of Kira still now pushing, but now pushing on 2 different sides. They're going to split push on this map. And just going to try and make life difficult for Armani in that way. As Armani trying to set up those run-bys, a little bit worried. There's a lot on the bottom left-hand side that it feels like Kira is maybe not ready to fight, but the top right army is definitely going to get through without too many issues. Here comes the counter-attack as well. But that's not even the main wall-off. That's like the outer wall-off. So he isn't even going to get into the natural here. So that's pretty much that counter-attack dealt with already. Will unload Marines here, and these mutas are going to have to turn around, but I think Armani's not paying attention, so he loses a few mutalists before he realizes that that isn't going to work. And that is unfortunate as we see the Lings and the Banes continue through. A few of the Marines getting hit a little bit as well, taking some extra damage. Marines now dropping up in the main. Feels like Kira just suddenly did go Super Saiyan mode, and he is actually just all over the map. He really is everywhere at the moment, going here, there, and everywhere, and he's just pulling a Mutalist player apart, which I think is a really crazy part of this, right? Mutas are meant to stop you from being able to play this kind of style, and yet Here's Cure just up in the face of Armani saying, well, bring it to me, buddy. Don't know what you're gonna do about it. Thor gets evacuated as well. Is even bringing this back a little bit. With a few Marines here, I don't think that Thor should go down. And Marines, stop hitting the creep tumors. Go protect your Thor. That could have easily been saved. This time it was Kira who's maybe not as on top of things as he should have been. Ling's looking for a wraparound, trying for the Marines right there. Really good wraparound, does a great job of it. So full wraparound, shuts that down. Here come the meters, come flying down the bottom side. The medevac's trying to escape away. Missile turret going to fire. The Thor firing up as well. He's going to dive into the main base. Missile turret is going to go down as well. That's that cleaned up. All of these SCVs still being cleared out. All of these Lings run down the right side. Widowmine's coming in as well. Going in after that. And, well, just feels like there's still not a fight for me that Armani's winning. Like, he's getting some SCV kills, and that's great. But does it matter against what's about to be a 3-3 Cure, who's now still up against a Lingbane Mutalisk army, because it's just not progressed from there at all? I really don't think so. There is that 3-3 starting up on the Evolution Chambers. The Banes start rolling in. The Marauder's going to tank a chunk of that damage to begin with. A lot of those Lings do go down. We're going to start pushing out down the bottom left-hand side, so making his way down there. Kira just obviously making sure to attack in directions to keep Armani on 4 bases, never giving him the chance to get up to base number 5, and he's been really good at that. Denies this base up here, a few drones go down, going to drop into the main. Again, it's just completely utter chaos that Kira is fully creating on his own accord. Doing a fantastic job of this. As you drop into this main base, doesn't look like these Zerglings will have too good of a time. The Banes keep on rolling in as well. On the left-hand side, the Lingbane comes through. The Marauder's going to split up. I mean, so many drones going down. Armani's supply is plummeting, and so are the hopes of the Afreeca Freecs in this series. It looks like we're going to have 2 very clear contenders for the top 3, or 3 very clear contenders for the top 3. Team NV, DPG, and Kaizi Gaming. They still have to play against each other as well. DPG still have to play against both those teams. Looks like Afreeca will be holding the fourth place spot down in this group stage for the moment. GG's. TY and Zest will still play, guys, but this series is won in the favor of Dragonfield. Everyone's been accusing me of stealing your lights as well, Roddy, which I kind of did, but I've actually had these for a very long time. I just didn't have like a setup to make them look good before, you know? So, sorry, not sorry. Sorry for everyone else that got offended for you. Stealing the colored lights in the background. How dare I? I'm the worst kind of Starcraft friend. Yeah, Philips, you, they're the exact same ones. I know, I've seen them in the background that you have. The exact same ones. They're, when I did the research, everyone just said these are literally the best ones you can get for doing that sort of stuff, so. Color lights copyrighted, Roddy. Yeah, man, I will go say I'm a scumbag. I'm a scumbag. TUI is gonna proxy Rex. I mean, the series is over, and honestly, I don't want to like be a downer, guys. But TUI has not really looked like he wants to play StarCraft the last couple times he's played, and B, now the series is already kind of decided. I'm not sure how much he's gonna really try and play this out, you know. A couple of racks get proxied up on the top side from TUI, so. I mean, this is obviously a build in TVP. As by the way, this time Zest has a camera and TY doesn't. But yeah, this is obviously a build. This isn't like something like, oh my god, like this is just him throwing the game. It's just, I feel like a lot of what TY has been doing is proxying, trying to make stuff happen quickly, and like I say, it's not quite the brilliant TY that I think a lot of people are very used to seeing. So I just want to kind of pre-warn you guys. I hope this is a really cool epic series. I'm just gonna say, like, if this does turn out to be a bit lame, that's maybe why, you know? It's very possible that does turn out to be the case, you know? That's gonna be seeing the couple of SCVs and a Marine gonna move on through then, but, man, Zest knows what's up, so he's already just added a second gateway. He's not even gonna bother expanding. And if you're not even going to bother expanding, well, this just makes this proxy very difficult to do anything with. He's going to play for the low ground bunker, the contain bunker, right? You know, you're looking to keep your opponent pinned in here. But even that is oftentimes not the greatest. It can buy you some time. We'll see as the factory starts up from TY at home, so he is beginning his transition as well. A panel on the high ground looks as though, okay, it's just going to be kept alive for the moment. As the Stalker pushing a couple of Marines away. Okay. It's pretty good for Zest, who keeps that Stalker alive as well. Somehow that Marine runs past the Stalker as well. Looks like the Zealot will go down as it tries to fight the bunker. Well, it doesn't really want to fight the bunker, it's just kind of chasing, right? But, okay. Stalker finally goes down, so Zest does lose a couple of the units here toward the end, which is obviously problematic in its own right. Still just scouting around the main base, so he has full information as to what this follow-up is, how things are looking, how things are continuing. So yeah, nothing really of concern there. These couple of racks are going to start flying home. Honestly, I feel like this wasn't so bad for TY. Remember that obviously there's no expansion yet here from Zest. These 3 Stalkers now are going to go chasing down the last couple of Marines, etc. Just going to go hunt those down and clean those out. Sorry guys, didn't realize the timer was still on in the top right saying, oops, my bad, my bad. Yeah, it definitely feels like this is a little bit more of a... I don't know, like, it's kind of a weird one with the way it's set up, but I think I like it overall for Zest, because Zest's going to chase down these last few Marines. Zest has a lot of units coming out of this, more than anything else. I think that's very important here. I think that's a huge deal, actually. It's just going to drop down another Rax in that main base, just going to get that set up. Sad to see both these guys go into the military soon. Yeah, it really is, isn't it? It's kind of crazy that we're just losing a chunk of players, but we're seeing some players come back and get into GSL and stuff, and I think that's really cool. So I don't think it's, you know, it's sad, but I don't think all hope is lost or anything. I think we're still going to see, a good amount of competition out in Korea, basically, so that's always I mean, that's always what you're looking for more than anything else, right? Like, just a good amount of competition, fun games, fun series. I think we still have that. And so while we'll be sad to say goodbye to TY, Zest has been sad to say goodbye to Stats, I still think that we've got ourselves a lot of potential for great games in Korea and stuff. And, you know, maybe Classic returns, Hero, Gumiho. Those guys come back and they can do well. Who knows what's ahead of us still. As we do continue through, guys, just going on a bit of a tangent as Zest came across the map. Didn't really do much. I mean, it was a one-base wall-off, so what could he really do there initially? Not a lot is the answer. This nation having a good scout around, seeing what's up, seeing what's going on, of course, so doing pretty decent with that. Just keeping an eye on things. Robot facility in the Forge coming in. The Blink's about halfway done as well. I'm just waiting to see if Zest is going to be the one to launch an attack, or if it's going to be TY. I mean, TY is morphing another orbital, so that's his 3rd CC, right? Morphing in already, so looking like he's ready to go up to the 3 bases. I started off this series with a bit of a downer rant. Not really a rant, but a bit of a downer kind of statement about, you know, I'm not confident about what TY is going to bring here, but the way he's setting up right now actually is kind of cool. These Stalkers are going to be annoying. Blink in the main, and if they can blink in the main and wait for that blink to come off cooldown, then this is going to be a pretty low commitment blink as well. The Cyclone moving, I don't think it will actually see it, and those Stalkers will just wait until that blink is done. And that does mean you can just move in, make some kills, and you've got blink out immediately, so you're never actually going to be in trouble here. That's a dead Cyclone. Now you're dead Stalker due to the siege tank. Got a couple of SCVs, and like I say, it's time to start making your way out, so you can blink. Yeah, I like that. Blink the one Stalker out that's really hurt, and then let the others just deal a little bit more damage. Why not get a couple of extra workers or extra Marines, if at all possible? Uh-oh. Well, why not get these extra Stalkers if possible, says TY. Drops in on top of them. Looking good. One upgrade's now going to start up on the engineering base. going to be seeing a couple of extra racks coming through, so 5 racks in total here in the near future. Here comes this army of TY. Starting to move on up towards the top side. Going to see a couple of building batteries on the 3rd base location. All of those extra gateways continue to come through as well. Stalker's doing well and doing a pretty good job of just nibbling away at these units, but not letting them get in position too easily at all. So Zest doing a great job of this, actually. Just really keeping control of what TY can do, where TY can go. Storm on the way, we've been seeing this as a follow-up very frequently lately from Zest. It has really been a very much so a go-to for him, the Storm and the follow-up. I would almost say him and Trap have been the ones to popularize that even as of late, so it's been very cool to see that play out and stuff. As we do make our way around, just going to be seeing these few Stalkers continuing along as well. Still out down the center and just having a little bit of a blink here and there. Excuse me, sorry, just had to readjust my headset. I feel like that might have come through on the broadcast a little bit as Stalkers move up. Just going to blink back. Widowmine first shot already off. And the Stalker's just going to get out of trouble. Couple of depots going to lower. Storm about to be done. +2 attack going to be on the way. And again, just going to see our medevacs loading up and trying to go elsewhere as well. So a few Marines going to unload in the main base. The thing is, TY feels very pinned back. Now, a lot of the time, I feel like that's where TY doesn't really mind being. Pinned back, held back, okay. It doesn't feel good, but he's one of the best players out there in playing this longer game TVP, kind of letting things go later game. Maybe I'm just still letting my bias, my skeptical kind of view of TY lately shine through a little bit, you know? Maybe that is still a bit of a thing. Because I feel like if this was TY 2 months ago, I'd really like this for him. But right now, I'm still a little unsure as to what TY can pull off. And that is, again, mostly just because of last week's WTL as well. He really didn't look good there, and a couple other events he hasn't looked good in lately. Yeah, he's playing a decent game here, like I said, with some good defenses, some good catches on a few of those units at times. The double hallucinated Prism flies into the main, and it's a complete fake out for the real Prism in the natural, which gets 10 SCVs with the Storm drops. Templar get out of there alive, and in the chaos, the bio units even start to shoot at a depot. Well handled across the board, really is. Just going to see that command center building between the natural and the 3rd base. These units from Zest just sitting out the front a little bit as well. Gravitic Drive on the way through. The couple of Disruptors on the way out. The Nexus building up here. And this bio army, couple of siege tanks working their way forward to pick away at some rocks and to move on through with this. Disruptor shot going to fire, and a couple of Marines are going to get caught. The tanks are going to continue to shoot away there, and obviously here comes what is one of the larger pushes of TY. He has got the Ghost, so he has got EMPs. He's obviously got to be careful of the Disruptors. Disruptor shot here. Is the tank not in range of that? I thought it might have been. Okay, well, only gets a couple units anyway, as we do have, again, this kind of slow advance continuing forward. EMPs coming down, a couple of Zealots, the Immortal, etc. Zealot's going to go charging through. Widowmine's going to go off, but honestly, not too much. Beautiful storms from behind. The Prism came in with the Storm flank. What a cleanup from Zest. Beautiful engagement. Ghosts. See you later again. Chase the hell out of there. Stalkers, if they blink, will get that medevac. And that has the Ghosts inside. I'm surprised we haven't seen the blink forward from Zest here to clean those up. He absolutely had it available at some point of this. I mean, he blinks forward now, which is a little while, but it will probably get the job done as Zest will continue the dominance here for Dragon Phoenix Gaming in this series. I just gotta be like 1 minute, make sure I don't have the front door locked and I didn't lock the girlfriend out, because then I'll probably be in trouble, you know? I'll be very quickly. Because that would be awkward if I'd locked her out. I would have been in trouble, so. Alrighty, guys. In number 2 of TY and Zest. Let's see what we get. I appreciate you guys putting up with me disappearing for a second. Do 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 do. Don't make the girlfriend mad rule number 1. Yeah. She wouldn't be mad. She'd just be, you know, first day she goes to work from the new house, she comes home, she's already locked out. It doesn't set a good precedent, you know. It doesn't set a good precedent. Well, he sounds happy today. Lots of singing and humming. I'm happy most days, you know. As much as Twitch chat likes to say I only ever complain and I'm sad, I'm actually happy quite a lot of the time when I'm casting Starcraft. It's a fun life, you know. Starcraft's a fun game. Dog just qualified to Code A today. I mean, Code A is kind of silly. I'll still stand by this. But, you know, Dog lost to Innovation, and that's yesterday, and that's why he's in Code A. Like, it's just that, like, 8 players go straight to Code S, and then, I mean, it's just, like, Code A is just a glorified, but non-glorified. The Code A is just basically a really terrible way of doing a round of 24. You know, it's just a way of doing a round of 24 with less broadcast days / times. And it's just not as good because single best of 5s is just not as good as round of 24 groups, you know? So yeah, Code A's not on now. It's just, it was GSL qualifiers today, so. Code A is back, but it's definitely not the Code A that people know and love, you know? It's very much so a downgrade. It's straight up just a downgrade from what we had as Code S last year, you know? Honestly, I feel like it's a bit insulting to call it Code A. Like people wanted Code A back for so long, but this is just not Code A. So, yeah, it was just kind of a way to kind of mask a big downgrade in the system, I think, and to try and make it sound like good. So, yeah, it's a bit brutal, honestly. Like I say, Doc has to play Code A because he loses to Innovation. I mean, that's just ridiculous. It's just crazy, honestly. But such is life, I guess. When Code S is only 16 players, that is kind of, I guess, not so crazy. What's the difference between the other Code A and this Code A? Well, current Code A is these adepts just going to keep aggressive, by the way. Current Code A is literally just 8 matches, 8 best of 5s, but Code A before was like a full tournament. It was like, there's a full tournament that qualified you into GSL Code S, so if you did a different amount of good, you could go into like up and down matches. It was just its own tournament, whereas now it's basically just a round of 24 for Code S. You know, it's like, yeah, it's just like I say, it just doesn't really. If you go on Wikipedia and you look up GSL from like 2011 or something, that will, and then look in Code A from there, that's the best way to explain it, because it had a few different formats. And it used to really be like a proving ground for like lower players to like prove themselves and to have like progression through the system. Nowadays, it's all the top players that should be in Code S just have to play an extra best of 5 to get into the round of 16 sort of thing. So it's, yeah, it's, you know, like I say, it doesn't really, honestly, it's not bad. It's just, it still is a downgrade from last year, and it's definitely not what Code A, it's definitely not what a lot of people thought Code A would be, you know? One of mine's into the main. We get this underway. Just going to be seeing a Stalker getting shot down. Wouldn't mind in the natural as well. Let's see if Zest is still paying attention. He is. Deals with this pretty well at the moment. Is Code S related to GSL Super Tournament? Well, I mean, it's both GSL, right? Super Tournament's just like a weekend version of GSL, basically. Previously, Super Tournament was played over like a 4-day weekend. Now it's played over like 2 weeks, but it's only 4 days. So, that's also kind of weird, because like, Super Tournament was almost meant to be like a different form of GSL, whereas now it's still that kind of preparation setup. It's just in a different format. It's actually kind of funny because, like, because Code S is now 16 players, Code S and Super Tournament just have a lot of similarities, right? There's not a lot to kind of see between them. Like, it's different formats, sure, but only for the round of 16. So, yeah. But yeah, basically, Super Tournament is like the weekend format of Code S. And yeah. Just things have changed over time, basically. They've kept a lot of names for things, and if you're an old school StarCraft viewer, it's very difficult to determine or discern. Like, in my mind, like, Super Tournament is this thing that isn't really the same thing as it used to be, right? So if you've watched for a while, it might be just a little bit more confusing. Whereas if you're new, they're just kind of, you know, they are what they are, right? Anyway, this game, sorry, goes on, and we had some Widowmine drops. We got this Archon drop trying to get something done. That's with those DTs on the opening. Now I'm going to switch it up into Blink. And that Temple Archives again, so wants to go in towards the Storm upgrade. Wants to try and take it to that Storm stage of the game and try and get something done from there. So, see how that goes. The Archon comes in, picks off an SCV, building a missile turret. Couple Marines coming through. Archon gets lifted away from the Widowmine. Nice micro from Zest. Well, you know, good attention paid there to make sure nothing too crazy would happen. These two medevac's going to have the Raven coming in after them as well, so just going to be trying to escape out that left-hand side. A few Marines in the center, while Stalkers are going to say hello and what's up to these guys. So a few of these being picked away at. Uh-oh, a couple of feedbacks going down here as TY shows up. This Widowmine will go off. Decent splitting away from Zest. Super battery active and keeping these Zealots alive with no charge. I mean, it's kind of awkward, right? You don't usually see Zealots warping in when charge isn't ready, so it does make this tough. I mean, TY is also only just now about to have Stim. The second he gets Stim here is crazy, because now you can Stim into this fight, and Super Battery's obviously faded out, so you're now going to Stim at the one point where Zest is the weakest. Like, Zest almost just used the Super Battery too soon, right? Like, don't get me wrong, it did work, but he actually needed the Super Battery once TY actually has Stim. The fact you Super Battery before Stim was even finished definitely means the Super Battery didn't save you from the worst part of this. As TY continues through a +1 attack upgrade lead, the damage early in this game seems to have just favored TY so much so that now coming through with this attack. I mean, Storm is ready, but no High Templars with Storm nearby, I believe. TY is held off, so maybe now Storm will get a chance to come through. TY is only 2 bases as well, so remember that. As being pushed back now maybe means that, you know, in a longer game he's not as well set up. He's adding on extra racks and a 3rd CC. Looks as though Zest will get to survive with the worker lead. Will still be down on upgrades, but definitely improves for him a little bit. Definitely improves a little bit from what we were, or where we were at previously. A double Widowmine drop going to come up that side of the map and make a bit of a play in. Stalkers come through, dealing a bit of damage. Widowmine here connects in on a few of those Zealots as well. Another Widowmine burrows, and it's going to be a dead probe. Army pulls back from TY, down the bottom side, couple of ghosts coming through, the concussive shells, enhanced shockwaves all coming in. This entire army continue to settle down here. Is just going to be seeing that Ghost Academy with the enhanced shockwaves coming up. There go those few additional Zealots of Zest, going to work around the right-hand side. Stalkers coming in, Marauder taking some hits. Plenty of units on the far right from Zest, as you see a huge High Templar warp in. Is this just why Zest powers up a bit, because he had that 3 base so much faster than TY? Obviously TY taking into the Ghost, getting the EMPs that he needs, but Zest is definitely in a bit of a... well, he's in a good aggressive position. This might just turn into a base trade. They're avoiding each other completely. TY gonna strike the left side, Zest gonna strike the right side. And in we go. Zealot Stalkers gonna start going up against each other. A lot of those SCVs start to go down. Archons are gonna fire. Bio Army pushing on up to the natural expansion. That's going to be seeing everything continue through. Those couple pylons continue to drop. And, I mean, full-on base trade. Zest Okay, Zest going to get on top of the production a little sooner here. I think Zest actually did have the potential to warp in a little bit more for longer than TY did. If Zest feels comfortable that he does enough damage, there's always that possibility of him just recalling home to start defending. Dark Shrine, definitely a good reason to, definitely a good thing to target down immediately. DT is very annoying in these base trades once you lose access to your orbitals. Zest still mining, has a good amount of money, sending a lot of probes forward. He has a lot of probes just around the map at this stage because of that as well. So he'll have plenty of probes, Archons and the Immortal, the Zealots as well, all coming through, clearing out this main base. Bio Army still pushing into this. The pylon's going down. Gateway's being unpowered. Debo's in the main from TY as he tries to recover a little bit. But I mean, Trey, he is building a CC as well. Where's the CC building? Oh, it's right in front of me as well. It's right in front of my face, guys. I'm looking everywhere on the mini-map. I'm like, where's the build? It's in front of me. It's on the screen, Wardy. Okay, brilliant. So they're both going to rebuild a base. Coming out of this, though, I think Zest really gets into the better spot. Worker lead. Army lead. Definitely for me, I'd like to be Zest a lot more than Light BT. Why do they keep pressing things and holding down the keyboard? I don't know what's going on from the Chinese side of things, but it's a little bit wild, to be honest, guys. A little bit crazy. Otherwise going off, Zealots charging through, Archon Stalkers. Just gonna see this Bioforce continue to push on in. I mean, the fact that Zest just knows that he's got... I think Zest has got the right idea, right? He knows his army's better. I think he knows he's the one that can take the fight. He's just going to push through to take this victory. GG's. And that is going to do it for today. 6-0 from Dragon Phoenix Gaming. Another series this weekend that we thought would be a little bit